Oh, thank you everyone for coming. We are also very glad to be here at Voxed Days in Zurich on the cinema for once. I like the idea, very appealing. Sadly, we cannot have a popcorn, strange noise, and the smell not very good. But today we will talk about our session about sharing is caring. How can we build trust in a system through transparency? But before we just dive in, just a few words about the two of us. So we are working for the same company, as you can see, the Swiss Post. I'm here with Céline Camacho, a talented software engineer, working for the company since 2023. I myself, Fabrizio Beretta Piccoli, with the role of the application manager, also working for the company since quite a while, since 2015. And now also a few words about our project. So our project is e-voting. This one started already quite a few years ago, but our very first milestone was on 2023. On 2023, we could start with 4 cantons on be on a test productive. This means that those cantons really vote, or the session, there is kind of, I don't know if you're Swiss, but in Switzerland we vote kind of 4 times a year at least. And the last one just ended in 8th of March, and 26,000 people decided to use our system to vote, to express their right. And most of the cryptographers, like Céline, they work in Neuchâtel, because in Neuchâtel we have the competence center for cryptography in Neuchâtel. And for the next 15-20 minutes of this session, we will explain you what is our plus value on the Swiss Post voting system. We will go through 5 main questions and we'll ask to Céline, which she will answer to me. And so we will go through it more like a Q&A session done on ourselves. And then just start with the first question now. Céline, I'm still not convinced that we picked the correct title for our application. Why sharing is caring? Why sharing is important? I thought that security through obscurity was the way to go, hiding everything from everyone. Only so we can really be sure we are hiding and keeping safe everything.
Thank you, Fabrizio. That's a good question. Security through obscurity only brings a false sense of security. It is based on secrecy and can be broken by human mistakes and leaks. So let me show you why transparency is the way to go. We at Swiss Post e-voting do this transparency through publication. The e-voting solution is an ecosystem, and we publish all of its source code, but we also publish the documentation on how we do it. And this includes the protocol specification, where we have the cryptographic building blocks of our system, also the architecture documentation, which contains the architecture decisions and our constraints that we have, and also, of course, our development process, which explains how we ensure a secure software development process. And our idea with publishing, with this transparency, we want to create trust. So how do we want to do this? Is by making everything available, the source code and the documentation. Now, we want this to be available for skeptical people. We are working on e-voting, which is maybe some people are afraid of digital democracy, so we want to make it available for them. Also for experts, people that can really understand the source code, the protocol documentation, and just in general, we want our source code and documentation to be available for everyone. So in the end, Fabrizio, I think we did choose the correct title.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad of it. And what I hear is that security through obscurity is a bad idea. Much better to have publication. So as a software engineer, is it easy to publish then?
Yes. So thank you for your question. Indeed, publishing itself, the task is easy. We have a job that we just run. We wait for a bit and then everything is published. Now, we have to consider the content, what comes before publishing. So if we focus on the code, we want to ensure code quality. And this is because the code that we're publishing, we want to make it auditable. So for this, we have some code conventions. We are a team of 8 developers, but we want to have a code that looks as if just one person implemented it. Then we also have some very strict PR reviews. We go into the details, not only of the implementation, checking the code, but also the architecture depth, the technical depth that we are adding with this PR. We also want to make sure that we are testing the edge cases, doing end-to-ends, and really go into the details of the changes. Now, of course, we also use some quality tools. We have Sonar for static code analysis. We ensure that we don't have any code smells, duplication, and also that we have a good test percentage. Now, as much as quality is important, we need security. And for this, we have some security measures. So super important for us is the 4 eyes principle. We have a strict 4 eyes principle everywhere on the project. If I go back to the PR, we have to have at least 2 approvals in order to merge any PR. And this for any source code changes, but also documentation changes. And if we're doing any cryptographic level changes, we need a 3rd person who does the cryptographic review. Now, we also, of course, need a hosting platform. So we chose GitLab, but the GitHub is also widely used. And this is a personal preference. We anonymize our commits, which complexifies a bit the publication process. And of course, we also have some security tools as well as for quality. We use Sonar for the security hotspots, but we also use CodeQL and the OWASP dependency check to ensure that we don't have any vulnerabilities on our code. So you see, Fabrizio, publishing is effortless, but still we have some work to do before publishing.
Yeah, I see. Not so easy as it seems the first time, and there is a lot of effort from the whole team of yours. So, voilà. Then now I have you, right in the middle, very good. But still going on, my question is all the effort you put with whole team really worth it? Because the process is quite demanding.
Yes. So, this is better. We had some static. Okay. Sorry. Yes. So indeed, we put a lot of work for this publishing. And it is worth it. And this is because public scrutiny is extremely important for us. It keeps us accountable, and it ensures our ethical and transparent behavior. So for this public scrutiny, we want to create a community. And how do we do this? Is by creating events, attending events. For example, we had some colleagues that were attending hackathon at TPFL this Friday. And here we are today at Vox Days for this, in order to make the project known. And from this community, what we wish to receive is feedback. Now, in order to receive more feedback, we created a bug bounty program. Of course, the incentive in the bug bounty program is the money. So we have a money incentive, a maximum reward of 230,000 euros, which is for a critical vulnerability. Now, in average, we give 2,000 euros, which is for a low vulnerability. Generally, some nice-to-haves or improvements. And the idea with this bug bounty program is to attract ethical hackers from around the world. Now, with these findings, of course, we have some work to do on our side. The first thing to do is to filter the findings. With the rise of AI, we saw a rise in the number of findings. So we really need to filter and ensure that this is not just AI nonsense. Then we have to investigate, we communicate with the hunter. Maybe there's something that we didn't understood, if there's a bug, or if there's some improvement that we can do on our side. And if that's the case, then we fix it, or we do the improvement and we integrate it in the next release. And during this process, the hunter then gets paid. So you see, Fabrizio, for us, publishing is worth it because of public scrutiny.
Yeah, I see then the very value of the sleeve publication. And also the feedbacks are very important. We are always very eager to have feedbacks, not only from our ethical hackers, from everyone. You can also give your feedback if you want. Just go on our Yes React bug bounty program, and then you will then give your own feedbacks. But I might be a bit mean, but we tell that there is ethical hackers and a lot of people go into it, but they are really doing it every year on every release that we give. How can we ensure these regular feedbacks that people really go on our GitLab and then they read and understand everything that we have posted?
Yes, so that is a very good point. We need this regular feedback, as you said. And in order to ensure this regular feedback after the releases, we have mandatory audits. These mandatory audits are commissioned by the Federal Chancellery, and they are done by independent experts, experts in industry, but also in academia, experts with experience in cybersecurity, e-voting, and cryptography as well, of course. And these mandatory audits are done in scopes. So the first scope is the cryptographic protocol, all the cryptographic layer. Here they audit our cryptographic parameters, our encryption algorithms, mixing algorithms. Then we have the second scope, which is the software, where they audit not only the source code, but also our development process. The third scope is the infrastructure and operations, where they audit how we deploy the solution, but also how the clients, which is the cantons on our side, use our solution. And the third scope is the intrusion test. Now, as I said, these mandatory audits are done after releases. And these mandatory audits, we have this regular feedback that keeps us accountable. So you see, it's thanks to these mandatory audits that we do receive these regular feedbacks.
Thank you very much. So we see that the mandatory audits come regularly, but then now we'll just jump back at the beginning of the presentation. We said that now we have 4 cantons that you already use it on production. And when we go on production, we will surely make sure that we get the good release, a release that has all the mandatory audits and all the feedback that could have collected and already implemented, and so all the improvement already done. But how can we now ensure really that what we have on our production servers are really our desired release?
Yes, good question. So indeed, we are publishing our source code, we have these releases, and we are using a release for a specific election. We want to make sure that what is being used is what has been published and audited. So for this, we have 2 things. The first one is the trusted build. We base ourselves on the fact that we have a reproducible build, so that when we compile our source code independently twice, we have the same artifacts. So this deterministic compilation, right? And what we do to compare the artifacts, we just hash them. And so now that we have these hashes, it's important that we publish them and make it available to everyone. So if you go to our GitLab in our documentation, you will find a folder for the trusted build. And for every release, you will find the artifacts names and their hashes. Now what happens is that these experts that I was discussing before will go compile our source code for the given release, and then they will check the artifacts, hash them, and compare them with what we published. And if indeed the hashes match, we can say that we have this trusted build. So this is the first step. And now the second one is the trusted deployment. And this is a ceremony that Fabrizio knows very well.
Yeah, thank you, Céline. I can take over for this question. The trusted deployment ceremony is a ceremony where we formalize the trusted build. We will invite our experts and our DevOps physically in our headquarters in Bern, and there the experts will not come empty-handed. They always come with the protocol of the trusted build. That means they come with the paper with all the hashes of all the artifacts that we'll have on that desired release. Now, with our DevOps, we can then go and check all the hashes on our productive servers. And all these hashes are really matching what the experts provide with the protocol. Then you can say, yes, is really what we wanted, is really on our productive servers, and we can be sure of it.
Exactly. So this is how we ensure that the version that we want is in production. We have the trusted build and the trusted deployment. Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, thank you very much. You were brilliant in answering all the questions. But now we have talking quite a lot. Now is your time to shine, because you can also help us to improve our system even further. And you can, for example, have a look on our GitLab repository. Scanning this QR code, you can go and read our code base, our documentation, even do a hand-to-hand on your own. And then if you want to then submit your feedback, just go to our bug bounty program on Yes React. You can then submit your feedbacks and be part of it. And last but not least, if you enjoyed our session and you want to know even more, just go on our development process. There is a more detailed version of what we just said shortly in 20 minutes. So thank you very much. If you have now a question, we will be happy to answer them.
Hello? Okay.
Yeah.
These experts you mentioned, how are they chosen? Who are they?
Yeah.
So,
okay, I heard something. Yes, so how do we choose these experts? This is not something that Swiss Post chooses. This is something with the Federal Chancellery. And for example, who are they? We have professors from university that do their research on e-voting systems. We also have people from the BFH, for example, in Bern. Sorry, my German is bad, but Federschule, I think it's how you pronounce it. We also have some experts then in industry, which is from these enterprises in security in Geneva, where they have experience with e-voting in the past. And so we have many more experts, but it's with the Federal Chancellery.
Should I go? Hey, thank you for the presentation. Very nice, super interesting. I totally share what you're saying here. So sharing is caring. Maybe just a question. Do I get it correctly that you are asking the expert to come with the hash of the build to make it basically to approve the build and then push it in production?
Sorry, I didn't quite.
So is it louder?
Okay. Sorry, we try to talk inside of the microphone. Is it correct that you are saying that when you do the build, the experts are coming to you with the hash of the build, and then basically through this hash, if it's correct, you are deploying production to guarantee that it's trustfully the build, right?
It's correct. Yeah, the experts, there are always two. One is they are mandated from the cantons, and we have one representing the cantons and one representing a company of security engineers. And then they have to download all the source code from our GitLab, then do it on their own, and then from that they can have their hashes, and then they will have to come on site, because we also want to improve this 4R principle and not there is like some misleading and say, oh, we're doing with Teams, we are doing in remote. No, we are going there with our remote, with our DevOps, and they will log in at the spot on the server production, really showing what they do, and then with also no compromising. And so we can really prove this is how production, we just log in instances on the spot, we show the hashes and we log off, and everything is protocol. So there is no more further installation
But maybe just an idea. Why are you not using blockchain and multi-signature, and then you don't have to go there with a piece of paper and written on something strange? I mean, if you do multi-signature, then you can just sign the hash, and then it will be inside of the blockchain, and then you can keep a track. It's publicly available. Just an idea. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's we don't have a lot of time, but the blockchain is a good point. We do have these questions sometimes, and I think it's something that we can discuss later with a coffee if anyone is interested. And maybe just the last thing that I can say for this for these hashes is that anyone can do it. That goes into our GitLab. They can compile it on their site, see the artifacts, hash them, and verify them as well. Thank you.
So the time is over. And yeah, thank you.